Good evening. I'll call to order the City Council meeting on June 15th, 2023. It is 6:45 p.m. We'll begin with our invocation, and that's going to be Mr. Scott Garber. Please stand.
Thank you, sir. Let's pray. Father, I just want to thank you for another opportunity that we have this evening to discuss the future of our wonderful city. And Lord, as always, we pray for peace and unity in our land. We also want to pray for wisdom for those in a leadership position and prosperous perseverance for those that labor on our behalf. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen. All right. Turn to the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you. We'll now have citizens' comments. We have two citizens that would like to speak. The first is Diane Beck. Take your time. Thank you. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. I appreciate all you do. You hear me? Okay.
I'm sorry, ma'am. Would you please state your name and address?
Sure. My name is Diane Beck, and my address is 2421 Mercedes Road in Denton, Texas. And I feel I'm being targeted, not so much in Corinth, but definitely in Denton, where I reside. I am a conservative, and it's a mostly liberal town, and it causes problems, and I'm not the problem. I'm here to tell you that I am definitely not the problem. There is a narrative going around, and it is not true. And I stand up, not just for me. This is for our country. This is for my family. This is for SPAN that is doing the wrong thing. Anyone that is laughing, they're the Spanish people. When there was some subterfuge last time when I came, I know it. I can't prove it, but I know it. So they were laughing. It's not a laughing matter. Anyone that laughs at any of this is a narcissist, and at best, a narcissist. And I'm telling you, I am not the problem. It is the people that are manipulative. I don't know why, but I'm telling you, I'm a conservative, and I feel that's why I'm being targeted. And I'm standing up for all conservatives and actually all people, and for life. SPAN has been doing the wrong thing on my behalf. That's when this whole thing started. When they fired me by text, Michelle McMahon, Glenn Kimball, and Julie have all ganged up to create a narrative. Again, it's false, a false narrative that is not true. I stand up for what's right. I will not back down. I will not tolerate this. It is not right. I'm standing up for all life. And I am hoping for a good outcome, but right now they are denying me unemployment. I'm in the appeal process. And then also my siblings, just last night, manipulative again. Monday night, my sister had followed me home from my old home to where I'm residing now, and she came to me in the parking lot. I said, Kathleen, I can't talk to you. She still insisted. So I said, if you don't leave, I'm calling the cops. And I drove around, and I parked somewhere different. So she left, I guess. Well, she didn't actually leave. She stayed till 10 o'clock, but I was still walking the dog, and it was okay. Then last night, my brother and my sister, Kathleen, come to manipulate and literally taking a video. And I said, I don't want to engage with you. They don't respect the boundary. There is a boundary there, and they will not respect it. And I told them I'm going to call the cops. So they're taking video of it. I called the cops. The cops came, but they're like for an hour talking with both of us. It doesn't make sense. I had told the cops, don't come, or if you come, then I talked to the cop. But he still insisted on doing this hour-long, what he calls an intervention. It doesn't make sense. It's being manipulative, and I stand up, and I will not be manipulated or cower to a bully. I stand up for what's right.
Thank you. Trey Phillips. Mr. Phillips, I forgot to remind the other one if you'd state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Trey Phillips. I live at 2209 Wagon Wheel Trail, Corinth, Texas.
My name is Keaton Walton. I live at 323 Ashley Oak Lane, Texas.
Thank you. You have 3 minutes.
Mr. Burke, council members, fellow citizens of Corinth. My name is Trey Phillips, and I am a resident in the city of Corinth. On June 7th, I was in the Corinth area baseball fields with a friend, and we were lighting small firecrackers. Eventually, a Corinth police officer came and gave me a citation for firework possession and discharge. The next day, I came to the town hall, and I paid my fine with no complications. I'm not upset with the law, nor am I upset with Corinth PD, since they were only enforcing the law like they should. What I am upset with is the lack of signs declaring this law on city borderlines and public parks, and overall poor communication of the law to the citizens. Not many people know that fireworks are illegal to own, sell, and discharge within the city limits. In fact, a former member of Corinth government gave me those fireworks that I lit at the park. And it further confuses the matter when there are fireworks stands in Hickory Creek, which may lead residents of Corinth to assume that they are legal within Corinth city limits. I would like to see signs that state that fireworks are illegal to own, sell, and possess all around Corinth. I would also like to have a revision to the law. According to the law that is posted on the Corinth Police Department website, it states that, quote, persons possessing, discharging, or selling fireworks are subject to a fine. The term fireworks is a very vague term. When I asked the officer who was giving me the citation that what is classified as a firework, she stated that a firework is anything you have to light on fire for amusement. Before that encounter, I assumed that a firework was something you light and it goes about 100 feet in the air and explodes. But apparently, firecrackers, Roman candles, smoke bombs, and even sparklers are considered fireworks. I would like it to clarify that all these items are added on to it so that way people don't get confused and make the same mistake I did. Overall, I'd like to see signs posted on city borderlines and public parks stating this law, and have that revision to the law so people don't make the same mistake I did. Thank you for your time, and God bless the city of Corinth. Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda is our consent agenda. Do any of the council members wish to remove any of those items from the consent agenda, or wish to have any discussion of those items? All right. Will somebody care to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
All in favor? Do I vote? It's unanimous. Thank you. Next on the agenda is to conduct a public hearing and consider testimony and act on an ordinance on a rezoning request by the applicant and Moore Consulting to amend the zoning ordinance and zoning map of the city of Corinth, each being a part of the Unified Development Code, from single family to planned development with a base zoning district of MF3 multifamily residential for a 55-plus age-restricted active adult community on approximately 6.5 acres, generally located southwest of the intersection of Corinth Parkway and Shady Rest Lane. I will now open the public meeting.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As referenced in the agenda caption, this is a public hearing to create a PD to accommodate proposed senior living facility. It's really immediately east of our city hall. It's a 6.5-acre site. It's a very deep site, not a lot of frontage along Corinth Parkway, as shown on the map here. It comprises of three parcels. There are 2 single-family dwellings, and they each have access with an access easement up to Corinth Parkway. There is a small telecommunications building that you've probably seen on the site that will remain. It's in the upper northeast corner of the site, so that will remain. The existing zoning is SF2, as referenced on the agenda. STAR locates that subject zoning area. The future land use map identifies this as this is kind of our eastern gateway into our Agora mixed-use TOD area. So the site is in conformance with the future land use plan. So we kind of had to turn the picture a little bit differently. So to the left is north towards Corinth Parkway, and to the right is the back of the property. It is, again, an age-restricted. Cities are able, through zoning, to create zoning regulations that would only allow for 55-plus adults in a senior living. This is not an assisted living facility, nor is it a nursing home. This is a fully active adult that do not require any type of medical care. The base zoning district to accommodate this would have to be the multifamily district. It's proposed 196 units. There'll be two buildings. One major building will be the four-story structure accommodating the 196 units, and then there'll be a clubhouse building located towards Corinth Parkway. It is a gated community. Primary access is in the western driveway area, and then there is a fire lane access only with a grasscrete, a very unique type of grasscrete area along the eastern edge against our park that I think will be a very nice-looking amenity for that. This is the elevation looking into the site from Parkway. This is your one-story clubhouse along Corinth Parkway with the four-story buildings in the back. It's pedestrian-oriented because it is part of our streetscape scene that we're trying to create in the Agora district, so there is a reduced setback. It is 100% masonry, excluding some of the areas in the back, patios and balcony areas. They are protecting 35% of the healthy trees on the site. We appreciate their working with us on that, and we'll have a connection to the Lynchburg Creek Trail. This is an overview of all the landscaping on the site and the open space, and as you see on the right-hand side, significant tree preservation area on would be the southern border of the site. So again, we really appreciate them working with us, trying to preserve existing trees, and then add as much additional landscaping areas along with their amenity area, which includes the pool and a pickleball court. Because this is a unique feature, they do need deviations from our standard MF3 district, which was a suburban multifamily district. So again, as mentioned, it will be restricted to 55 plus age. So it will never be a market rate of multifamily district, a multifamily community, unless it comes back and amends the PD with your approval. The density, of course, needs to increase to accommodate this four-story product of 31 units per acre. The floor area is based upon their market conditions of our minimum is 850 floor area. They're asking for a minimum of 696. There will be 1 and 2 bedroom products in that. The maximum height from the base district will be increased to 4 stories. They are asking for a reduced parking ratio based upon the mix of 1 and 2 bedroom units. Under our current ordinance, they would need 2.3 spaces per unit. They're asking for 1.24, and that's based on their market study of similar products in the DFW area. Again, we're getting a significant more private amenity open space area from 8% to over 27%. And again, we're preserving 37% of the healthy protected tree caliper inches on the site. The project is compliant to the comprehensive plan. You do have a recommendation for approval by the Planning and Zoning Commission, and the staff is recommending approval. Mayor, again, there are no letters of support or opposition to the project. I'd be glad to answer any question. The applicant is here, also has a presentation. We'd like to hear from them.
Excellent. Any questions for John? Okay. Would the applicant like to be heard?
We could bring up the applicant's presentation.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm so glad to be before you again to present another project. When we were working on Corinth Groves together, I had an opportunity to talk with a couple of you, and there was always questions like, when can we get an active adult community? So I'm really excited to actually be in front of you presenting that here tonight. So, when I think about a complete community, and that is one of, Corinth's goals, I envision a variety of housing options to meet people at a specific life stage that they're at. Album Corinth is designed to fill that need, and it's 196 1 and 2 bedroom residences, with several curated space and programmed events happening all the time in these communities. Tying this kind of back to the Envision Corinth 2040 plan, the future land use, as John mentioned, is that mixed-use transit-oriented district. The intended purpose is to create that character and context of the new downtown Agora feel. And so that concept really drove how we were going to lay out this site plan and orient that to the public realm. And so we'll go into that further as I go into the presentation. But your Envision Corinth 2040 plan also identifies a need and a resident profile for a 55-plus community. I think it's really important to personify a project and its future residents. This is more than just a land deal, but it actually is a place that Corinth residents will call home. As folks mature and age and experience major life changes, sometimes moving becomes a necessity. However, folks would like to stay close to the family, longtime friends, church, and other community aspects that they've cultivated over the years of their lifetime. I would say that the average age of a resident in this community is approximately 73 years old. 66% of the residents are usually women, and 58% of the residents are unmarried. And of those 58 who are unmarried, 76% of those are females. And so, these folks could be looking to get out of their homes, looking for something a little less maintenance, less yard work to have to contend with, but also looking for a place where they can meet community, and there's lots of activities going on, and so all they have to do is really show up. I want to kind of walk you through our site plan. I'm going to start right about here, and we'll talk about the plaza. While this is a gated community, that plaza is oriented toward the public realm in the new Agora downtown area. It's a place to gather, sit, talk, have a cup of coffee with friends. To facilitate that sense of place in that area, we've designed to have, we programmed it to have a specialty paving, reduced building setback, so that it's oriented toward the street for more walkability, and just like little places to kind of sit, benches, tables, etc. I think it's a really good time also to point out that this proposed median cut, so right now this median is actually completely solid, and so a part of this site plan and the zoning would be a proposed median cut here so that residents can safely make a left turn lane back out toward I-35. Without the median cut, they would have to take a right out of the community and then make the U-turn at Shady Rest to go back toward I-35. So these communities are kind of like going back to college, but with money. The clubhouse is highly programmed with culinary kitchens, media rooms, fitness and group exercise rooms. There's game and crafts. There's even a bar and club area. I've been told that whether it's programmed or not, there's happy hour every day. So that's something to look forward to. The theme is continued into those outdoor spaces where we have luxury pool, lawn areas, courtyards programmed with sidewalks, shade, even a fire pit area. Also included a dog park for the residents and an activity court. Right now, pickleball is kind of that hot thing. Everyone's playing, but this could also be changed to, accommodate a different, more popular sport should that change in the future. I think it's really important to point out that under the code, multifamily and under plan developments, the developer is responsible for preserving 8% of the site plan for private recreation. Because of the efficiency that we have laid out this site, even though it is a very long and linear 6.5 acres, we have been able to preserve 27% for those private recreation spaces, in addition to those 35% of that tree preservation. So as you can see kind of back here on the southernmost area of the property, we have the tree preservation area. There will be gates and benches and side paths that could eventually connect to future trails for the city, since we have the city park just to the east of us as well. As Mr. Webb mentioned, we have that grasscrete. This is just giving those emergency services another way to access the site, but also could be visually appealing and used by residents. He also mentioned the CenturyLink telecommunications building. Right now, that is accessed through that access easement and has pavement. That too will all remain. It will just be kind of landscaped to make it look more a part of the community. Let's see. Okay, so this is a rendering of, if you're standing across the street on Corinth Parkway, of the clubhouse and the building behind. This architecture puts a slightly modern spin on the traditional brownstone inspiration that we began this project with. The masonry materials are consistent with the current architecture of the city of Corinth, and the various roof pitches and offsets along the building facade provide that visual interest toward the public realm, as well as the welcoming windows and the plaza that we mentioned earlier in the presentation. So that kind of concludes my high-level overview of the presentation. I'm happy to drill down into areas y'all are interested in or answer any questions.
Go ahead.
Well, could you go back to the slide right before this one?
Yes.
So there's no parking, like no covered parking or garage parking. It's all going to be on these outer edges.
So right here, so these are the garages. So those are trying to orient it as close to the building as possible because that's more desirable for folks. If they're going to rent a garage, they want to be as close as possible. Plus, on this outside, there's a building setback that we're trying to respect here. So this will all be open parking, and then we do have some more carports. So right now, total, there's 244 spaces. 91 of those are covered. There is a potential that should there be a demand for more covered spaces, we could add more carports throughout here.
And then what will be in the plaza? What is that? Just a little shopping area or
In the plaza, so it's really just going to be like an open-aired space. There's going to be some, if you can imagine, like little curb benches, maybe some seating out there, especially it's really just a place to gather. It's not necessarily programmed like for a park or anything like that.
Just curious, is there going to be any covering there?
Any covering?
You know, I mean, is there going to be any access to shade in that plaza? I'm just curious.
Yeah, very possible. There could be. If we choose like furniture with their seats with umbrellas and things like that, that is very possible. Huh?
That'd be very hot.
It might be. I mean,
Today it would be very hot.
Yes.
today it would be, it's just really.
December, not so much.
No, I think I've got some PTSD from being outside today.
We do have lots of trees and tree plantings. There will be trees planted along the sidewalk. There's a little bit of awning over like the entrance in that area. If we go back to the building elevation, let me see if I can point that out. Kind of like right here. So there will be like a little bit, but you know, most people aren't sitting outside when it's 100 anyways.
Have you done any other 55-plus communities with the parking? Like, to me, the parking just seems like it's far away.
Yes, absolutely. So the parking, you know, it feels far away, but then also, you know, you don't necessarily want your parking right up against the building, right? You want to have room for landscaping and sidewalks and things of that nature. And so, you know, every community is different. This site has a lot of site constraints that you're dealing with. You have a very long, linear, kind of narrow area, and we're trying to get a majority of that parking behind the building and out of the public realm. And so we do feel like this is strategically placed to offer parking where necessary. I can tell you that this is not a great site plan to show you on this, but there's actually like corridors on the first floor where you can connect all the way through these courtyards and whatnot. And there's elevators that are situated in here. And so they're strategic in nature as to where the parking is, where the elevators are, where the stairs. It's not going to be as difficult as one might imagine.
Any other questions?
Real quick, I may have missed it in the beginning. Is there an assisted living function to this, or is it all independent?
It's all independent. In fact, that is actually written into the plan development that it is not assisted living or any kind of like nursing facility.
Okay. Any other questions?
I do. I have one more quick question, and I know it's going to shock y'all, but it's about trees. Okay. Where, just kind of ballparky, where are some of the more mature trees that you're saving? Where are those, aside from on the back end, where kind of are those?
Yeah. Do you have that in the presentation in your?
I think it was in John's, actually.
Yeah, I'm happy to flip back.
I just curious, because, you know.
Yeah, so a majority of the density of the trees is in this back area. There is a lot of trees along that eastern boundary. They're actually on the city of Corinth's property line back there that kind of runs through like a little ravine. And there are some sporadic, but I would tell you that the majority of the trees are kind of back there in that tree preservation
Right,
area.
on the Lynchburg Creek side. Okay.
They're going to switch it back, and then we can go.
Sorry, y'all.
Also, too, in your packet, in the full entire plan development packet, I don't remember the exhibit letter, there's a tree preservation or mitigation one in there, and it shows the ones that are all the trees on the property, and then which ones are being saved and which ones
Well,
aren't.
yeah, I kind of saw that on John's where there were some of the existing. I just think that aesthetically that, you know, I mean, that's a mature tree that, you know, that's an asset that is.
It is, absolutely. And I can tell you, we went and through all of the ones that we could save as close as they were to the building, and sometimes, you know, you can attempt, it's not on here, it's not on this one. They're not all marked.
Those are your, this is your plantings and
Yes.
what's existing.
Yeah,
I got it. It's not that big of a deal.
But there are some along here, right here, where the entryway is, I think we were hoping to save and whatnot. And so it's just, that's one of those site challenges that you do work around.
Yeah, I get it.
But good question.
Well, I'm always going to ask about the trees.
I appreciate that.
Anything else? All right. Does anyone else have any comments on this agenda item? All right. We'll close the public hearing. Does the council wish to have any further discussion on this item before taking action? Very good. I'd entertain a motion.
Sir, I'd like to make a motion to approve Ordinance 23-06-15-21, amending the zoning ordinance and zoning map of the City of Corinth, each being part of a unified development code, Form SF2, single family, to a planned development with a base zoning district of MF3, multifamily residential for a 55-plus age-restricted active adult community on approximately 6.5 acres, generally located southwest of the intersection of Corinth Parkway and Shady Rest Lane.
I'll second.
All right. Cast your vote. It's unanimous. All right. We'll now take up item number 6, conduct a public hearing to consider testimony and act on a zoning request by the City of Corinth to amend the zoning ordinance and zoning map of the City of Corinth, each being a part of the Unified Development Code, by expanding the boundary of PD 61 to encompass lots 1 and 2R of the Lake Vista Business Park subdivision, currently zoned MXC, mixed-use commercial, specifically to allow the permitted uses and use regulations enumerated by PD 61 on approximately 3.1 acres generally located on the north side of Lake Sharon Drive, formerly Dobbs Road, between I-35E and Mayfield Circle. Case number ZAPD 23-002, PD 61 boundary amendment. I'll now open the public hearing.
Thank you, Mayor. As referenced in your agenda caption, this is also a public hearing to expand the boundary of an existing PD, being PD 61, located in this area known as Tract 1. We have been meeting with some representatives of some future businesses coming to the city, and they are interested in, as I see this area is really evolving into an area that can accommodate local businesses in the DFW area that need to do a kind of an office warehouse type of a development where there is an area dedicated to the office area and an area dedicated to storage of their equipment before that is sold or they deliver it. And we have a specific user really along this area of Carpenter Lane that would like to bring in a business that needs some area storage. We also met with a property owner in this area and said, you know, I too would like to have that benefit of having that more of that flex office space. So again, the PD 61 is now on Tract 1. It has a fairly detailed concept plan. We're actually working, with site plans in this area. It was a three building area with some retail, storage area, and office. And so it kind of really started setting the stage for the zoning in the area. So now we're looking at the area, what we call Tract 2. As zoned now, it doesn't really have that flexibility that people like to use where there's an office flex space. Maybe there's some limited light manufacturing that goes on. Given the size of these tracts, this is would be a very small operation. But to accommodate these businesses, desiring to come to Corinth, they need the uses that were granted on Tract 1 that would be brought over to Tract 2. Track 1 has some very detailed development standards that were very unique to the owners on Track 1. Those just remain with the Track 1 areas. Really for Track 2, we're expanding the PD just for the uses. The surrounding zoning in the area is generally non-residential, mixed use, and PD 44 for the Millennium Project. The comprehensive plan, which is in conformance with, is an office employment, which encourages flex office spaces. So as of this date, we don't have any letters of opposition or support. The Planning Zoning Commission did unanimously recommend approval of this, and staff recommends approval as presented. Being that the city is the applicant, we'll be glad to answer any questions you may have. Open the public hearing.
Any questions? All right. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Does anyone else wish to speak on this item? Very good. Close the public hearing. Does any member of the council wish any further discussion on this item before we vote? Very good. Does anyone have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve case number ZAPD 230002, PD 61 boundary amendment as presented, and direct staff to prepare an ordinance for action at a future city council meeting.
I'll second.
Cast your vote. It's unanimous. Very good. Moving to business agenda item 7, consider and act on an ordinance of the City of Corinth approving an amendment to the fiscal year 2022-2023 budget and annual program of services to provide for the expenditures of funds to pay for the addition of 2 full-time positions in the general fund and providing an effective date. Mr. Campbell?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. This item is a request for a supplemental appropriation for the current fiscal year budget to go ahead and basically move forward with 2 positions that we discussed a little bit at our May 25th workshop, a facilities manager and a senior planner, which were 2 positions that I had identified as, I think, very critical moving forward. And this is basically just a request to allow us to move forward with those 2 positions now.
Very good. Any questions for Mr. Campbell? All right. I'd entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All right. Cast your vote. It's unanimous. All right. That concludes our business. Does any member of the council wish to comment on anything going on in the community or any future agenda items they'd like to request? And I'll begin tonight with Ms. Pickens.
No, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, but thanks for starting with me.
Okay. Ms. Henderson.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Nothing to say. Thank you. Mr. Garber.
I have 2 things, sir. The first is I would like to say congratulations to Mayor Pro Tem Burke. This is his first lead meeting, and it's almost like he's been doing it since the beginning of time. And so you did a good job, and we appreciate you filling in for us.
You're very welcome.
And I don't know who made my birthday cake this evening. I still haven't figured that. I didn't make it. It was Lana. Well, Glenn took your hero high five, so I'll be sure to give you one. I want to thank you. It meant a lot to me. It's my 45th birthday tomorrow. I started on this awesome journey with the City of Corinth when I was a ripe old age of 37, and I'm enjoying it now more than ever. So, and it was my first birthday cake, so thank you so much.
Yeah. Hopefully his first birthday cake this year.
It is so far my first birthday cake this year.
Mr. Campbell, did we cover everything we needed to cover in executive session?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'll adjourn the meeting.